The Magic School Bus Gets Ants in Its Pants, a book about ants. Are you ready? Here we go. You never know who's going to show up for a visit to Miss Frizzle's class. Take the other morning when Keisha arrived. She was following a tiny guest. Meet my friend, the ant. Isn't she amazing? I wonder where she's headed, asked Keisha. This is no time for antics, said Carlos. We've got to pick a project for the science fair. This tickles my funny bone. The Friz was tossing things from the closet. Ah, the passion of science, we heard her say. Where is... Oh, there it is. The Friz put something on her head. It seemed to be a pair of antennae. She looked like our visitor. In the meantime, Keisha had lost her aunt. Arnold found her on his Mallow Blaster cookie. So that's why she came in here, said Keisha. She was looking for food. Then Keisha got an idea. Maybe we could do something about my aunt for the science fair, she said. Well, said Dorothy Ann, according to my research, when you find one ant, there are usually more nearby. That's right, Dorothy Ann, agreed Miss Frizzle. Ants live together in nests. My aunt needs food. Does it have to be my food? Oh, come on, Arnold. You know ants like food. And they'll eat anything. Trust me. But what could we do with ants? Asked Phoebe. Keisha looked at Liz. The class lizard was holding a video camera. That's it, yelled Keisha. We'll make a movie. Phoebe shook her head. At my old school, lizards weren't allowed to make movies, she said. My aunt is a natural star. The whole thing seems unnatural to me. I'll write it, offered Carlos. Phoebe wanted to help Carlos. Keisha would be the director and her aunt would be the star. The rest of us would play ants. Liz, it seemed, would do the filming, and Miss Frizzle would take care of the costumes. It'll be about an ant with a long nose called Elephant. Good one, Carlos. Ugh. Just as Keisha began to give orders, her aunt ran out of the room. We all followed. Keisha's aunt soon caught up with lots of other ants. Look at them all, exclaimed Keisha. How do I know which one is mine? I've lost my star. What do you call an old ant? An antique. Get it? Another good one, Carlos. Dorothy Ann had a book about ants. According to my research, your star has been telling the other ants about Arnold's cookie, she explained. Excellent observation, Dorothy Ann. Ants don't really talk, said the Friz, but they do communicate. The Friz told us that a food-finding ant is a forager ant. I've got it, shouted Ralphie. We'll make a Western starring an ant that rounds up food. We can call it Food Dude, said Carlos. Our movie can be a Western. That should stir up some interest. Good one, Tim. Oh, no. I'm getting that shrinking feeling again. Very observant, Arnold. All of a sudden, Miss Friz got that look that she sometimes gets. Then the magic school bus honked. All aboard, Miss Frizzle said. We each found a seat and fastened our safety belts. It's good to be prepared when you're going on a field trip with Miss Frizzle. Anything can happen. Soon, the bus was spinning and shrinking. When it stopped, the bus looked like Arnold's cookie. It tasted like it too. But where were we? I want more excitement. I wish you hadn't said that. Different ants do different jobs, explained Miss Frizzle. Remember the forager ants that find food? Suddenly, the bus was lifted up. Hey, we're being foraged, cried Wanda. Keisha, is the movie going to star a forager ant? Phoebe asked. And are we going to co-star as food? Arnold added. He sounded nervous. He's always nervous. No, said Keisha. The bus landed with a thud. Where are we? Asked Dorothy Ann. We're on location, said Miss Frizzle. Keisha looked out the window. It's an ant hill, she called. It's perfect. We'll meet the ants up close and personal. Come on, Liz. This is making me antsy. Ant jokes. Jokes are funny. Liz and Keisha left the bus, but not for long. Hundreds of giant ants came after them. Who let them on the set? Yelled Keisha. They look like they're guarding the nest, said Phoebe. Great, said Ralphie. The movie can star a guard ant. Help! Ralphie said, it'll be perfect for the widescreen with stereo sound and smell-o-vision, said the Friz. We had no idea what the Friz was talking about. Guard ants use their antenna to smell if we're friend or foe, she told us. Ants don't understand words, but they do understand smells. Yep, it's true. And ants smell with their antennae. I hope we smell friendly. The ants began to smell us. The ants are checking to see if we smell like them, explained the Friz. Their bodies make scented chemicals called pheromones. With that, she pushed a handle on the bus and sprayed us. Now we smell like these ants, said the Friz. So the guard ants will let us into the nest. She led us from the bus. As I can always say, class, when visiting a nest, smell like the rest. The ants are trying to smell us. Yuck! Ant perfume. They want to know if we're using the same deodorant. The guard ants checked us with their antennae. They wanted to be sure we were friendly. Then we entered the tunnel to their nest. Look at this, yelled Tim. He pointed to hundreds of ants running back and forth. The place was crawling with them. Excellent! A cast of thousands! It must be rush hour. Okay, places everyone, yelled Keisha in her best movie director's voice. But we weren't quite sure how to act like ants. What about makeup, Keisha? Asked Dorothy Ann. And what's the plot? Who's the star? Asked Carlos. Maybe we should get to know the ants better, Phoebe suggested. Good idea, Phoebe, said the Friz. Understanding begins with observation, she told us. We're not going inside an ant, are we? Oh, calm down, Arnold. Nothing's gonna happen, okay? Those ants look like they're kissing. The movie can be a romance. You know, a romance. I love it, cried Keisha. See the ant, feel the ant, be the ant. We watched some ants in action. This ant's rubbing its head and this one's licking itself, said Phoebe. They're cleaning themselves, Tim figured out. We saw two ants passing food from mouth to mouth. One of the ants gave a sticky blob to Arnold. He knew what it was right away. Part of his cookie. Oh, sure. Give it back to me after you've chewed it, Arnold grumbled. But a movie about ants sharing food didn't seem very exciting. Carlos crossed that idea off his list. Okay, he said, this movie isn't going to be about a forager ant, a guard ant, or a food carrying ant. That's not how we pass food in my house. Keisha was still looking for a star for our movie. As she walked toward one of the tunnels, some ants grabbed her and raced away. Then some other ants picked the rest of us up. They picked up the rest of us. Now things were getting very exciting. We were part of a great chase scene. Suddenly, they dumped us in front of a chamber. Whoa! Not so fast! Why me? Do I look like an ant? It's cute. Wait a minute, yelled Tim. What's in there? He pointed into a room where ants were carrying something. They look like little worms, observed Dorothy Ann. An ant gave one to Arnold. You look like you're holding a baby, said Dorothy Ann. Maybe it's a baby ant. Miss Frizzle explained that baby ants are called larvae. Just one was a larva. And that's what Arnold was holding. Who ever heard of a movie about larvae? Asked Keisha. We watched the ants move the larvae. I'll bet they're trying to keep the larvae warm, said Tim. Miss Frizzle explained that these were nurse ants. Their job is to move the young around the nest to keep them the right temperature. When they get a little older, the larvae will become pupae. Rock-a-bye, baby, everyone cares. When the air cools, they move you upstairs. But Keisha didn't want to do a movie about a larva or a pupa. Where's the excitement? She asked. What about an egg? Asked Phoebe. Where do ant eggs come from anyway? Good question, Phoebe, said Miss Frizzle. The eggs come from the queen. Keisha loved it. That's it! A royal star, she cried. Does the queen have servants? Carlos and Keisha began to look for the queen. While they were looking, Phoebe noticed water coming through the walls. Heads down, called the Friz. The nest started to shake and the tunnel caved in. As we picked ourselves up, the ants ran past us. There were ants everywhere. Look, yelled Tim. They're already repairing the nest. That's right, said Miss Frizzle. They're builder ants. Maybe they can build the sets for our movie. Maybe so, Tim. Maybe so. Keisha was still on a mission. To the queen, she shouted. There's only one, and she's our star. At first, we didn't even see her. There she is, said the Friz. She's the biggest one. But she's not doing anything, said Wanda. Miss Frizzle said the queen was the only ant who laid eggs. Keisha was upset. The queen laid an egg. The end, she said. I thought a movie about ants would be perfect for our science project, but I was wrong. She turned and ran out of the nest. Do we have to bow? Does she have an agent? Phoebe found Keisha sitting in the rain. No movie, no story, no star, Keisha said sadly. Oh, poor Keisha. What kind of star just sits there and lays eggs? Without the queen, there wouldn't be eggs, Phoebe said. So, said Keisha, without the ants that bring food, there wouldn't be a queen. Suddenly, she and Phoebe understood. All the ants worked together. Without the forager ants, there wouldn't be food. Without the builder ants, there wouldn't be a nest. Without the guard ants, the nest would be attacked. Without me, there wouldn't be a movie. Wow, it's a survival movie. Keisha and Phoebe ran toward the bus. They're all stars, exclaimed Keisha. Every ant in an anthill has a job to do. Just like we each have a job to make this movie. Forget the movie, said Arnold. There's a mudslide. It will wipe out the anthill, Keisha said. She spotted a magnifying glass on the ground. Action, yelled the Friz. We grabbed the magnifying glass to block the mud. We saved the nest just in time. Well done, everybody. Back at our school, our science movie was a big success. We each had a different part, and the movie couldn't have been made without everyone's help. Great camera work. Honk, honk. The end. What do you like best about ants? Let me know in the comments below. See you later. Bye.